right? I'm not, that's okay. That's a lot. I mean, it's $100 a month you didn't have, but maybe it's $100 a month you should have had sooner. Anyway, it's 7:18. Let's head into the KUAF News Zoom room here, where Senator Telo Taitague is standing by. And so, Senator, I didn't see you yesterday at the big press conference. I mean, it was interesting to me to note not only who was there, but like kind of who wasn't there. But we were talking before the thing, and so what it was for you was that whole scheduling malfunction that they had, where they scheduled it originally for Monday, and then they said, "Oh no, we're going to do it on a Tuesday." So you had what, like rearrange your schedule to go on Monday?
First, good morning, Chris.
Good
And good morning
morning.
to the WAVE family, as well as the listening audience, the people of Guam, the great people of Guam, people I'm proud to serve for. And well, yesterday's press conference actually was supposed to be on Monday. I was told on Monday. And then because of the size of the room, and you've been there, Chris, you saw how large that room was. It wasn't.
Don't
It was
say large. It wasn't large, yeah.
It wasn't large at all. It was as small as a bedroom, actually, and it didn't carry a lot of people. So I just made a choice: allow the press to come in there and provide, be there to ask questions and stuff. But I had rearranged another function on Monday to meet that press meeting, and I just couldn't change it. My staff means a lot. It was a staff birthday at the office, and I had to, put things together. But I made sure I watched. Thank you for putting it online, by the way, live on KUAM. I appreciate that. So my staff and I were able to watch it. But that's why I wasn't able to come. But there was a lot of people who wanted to attend. It's just the room was not big enough to accommodate a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. And I apologize. I took up a lot of space in that room. Let's go ahead and get into Senator. It's almost like, man, with these 18% law enforcement raises, and then we're getting this. There's like this program of Adelup they're starting up again, and then now there's also was that the COLA. So it is definitely looking like an election year. Just 2 months into this election year. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about this COLA bill. That's Senator Shelton. And I know Nestor did an interview with her, and this is the bill that would raise the COLA. I think it's like $500.
Yeah, well, actually, I introduced a bill.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Right. About a week prior to that, on the COLA, and basically what it did was it codified the COLA, the current amount right now at $2,000, right, an annual allowance, and that's all my bill did. But when I sent out the press release, it explained that this is the first bill of two bills that will be going out. And the first is just to qualify to safeguard what it is right now today at $2,000 a year. The second bill was to put it together a group of individuals as well as retirement, the economist, Department of Labor, BSP, other government agencies, kind of like the same makeup of the SES, to come together to determine the true price index of the cost of living adjustment, not an allowance. It should be an adjustment, just like the federal government does with their retirees. But for them, they go a little bit further. They look at where the individual is living at, what state or county, and the cost of living of that.
So
it's
like
an adjustment.
The federal employees here, they get a higher COLA than they would like if they were living in,
Mississippi.
Right.
Yeah, places that are the cost of living is low. So if we're going to raise the COLA, and the intention is to provide that type of funding for individuals who have a set income, but the inflation and the rise of cost of living is going up. We have to do it financially responsible in a way that we can adjust that living allowance or living cost of living on a yearly basis or bi-yearly basis, the same way as the federal government. But the $2,000 that was put in place in 2014 was just an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
There was no real calculation or mathematical formula to determine that amount. So,
Senator, that being said, is there a real calculation or mathematical formula in Senator Shelton's COLA bill?
I didn't see any at all. at all. Just let's do 100 this year and add another 100 the next year. And, you know, if you're doing something like that, you have to realize this is government of Guam employees. Well, who pays for the government of Guam employees? It's the taxpayer of this island, the private sector as well. We need to justify any kind of pay increase, you know, or, and I didn't want to do this, you know, make it look like a political push for an election. No, we got to do this the right way. Put a group of individuals together, determine this, find the math, you know, into the formula being used for the price index of a cost of living, and then adjust it from there.
Yeah, but that's not going to be done till like next year, and they're supposed to get it this year in the election, Senator.
I think that, well, my bill is coming out. I wanted to do it in phases. Basically, first, like I said, safeguard the 2,000, right, dollars. Get everybody start talking about it. And then next thing you know, Amanda puts out a bill a week later and said, oh, I'm raising the cost, you know, for COLA. And she asked if I could be on that bill. And I said, no, because there's no justification as to why you are raising it to 100, why you're raising it to 200 the next year. There's no, you know, justification. And we have to answer to the people of Guam.
Is there a funding? Is there a funding source?
I don't think so. When I saw her bill, it was just the general fund.
Keeping it general.
Yeah, keep it general.
Not specific.
Well, I mean, my goodness, that seems to be where all the money's at, because it sure is in EITC. We had a big discussion on that yesterday. And finally, a letter came in from Reverend Tax. I don't know if you heard about that, finally. I mean, I've been talking to Reverend Tax and saying, please tell this body that this money is funding used. The earned income tax credit is a reimbursement to pay FY21 tax year, not 2020. And finally, yesterday during the session, Reverend Tax provided a letter along with Lester from BBMR, and it basically says, with respect to the funding of 2021 earned income tax credit by the federal government, it is now clear that the funds will be funded as an advance to the government of Guam for specific purposes of paying EITC for tax year 2021, as opposed to a reimbursement of amounts paid by the general fund. So basically and the last part is, because of this, the amounts received for the 2021 earned income tax credits are not able to be appropriated.
Wow.
Now, Chris, you and I remember all those bills that were coming out and totaling up to $121 million, where the reimbursement was at 55, 35 went to the hospital, 5 went to DOC, and then the remaining, I think it was about 15 million, was put into the tax refund account. And then everything else was just, if you ask me, it was bills coming out just for position in the fake news, or, you know, fake bills coming out. It's just so disingenuous, you know, and people putting out legislation that, you know, tries to win over favor instead of provide real viable, you know, income. In fact, when this first came out, earned income tax credit, a lot of us thought first at the beginning it was 2020 reimbursement. You know, I even put a bill out that gave UOG, I think it was $7 million for GCC for scholarships for students, and UOG about $6 million. And then we were told that no, it doesn't, it's not for 2020. I read the US Public Law 117. And then next thing you know, all these bills started popping up left and right. And I was trying to explain to everybody, no, this is FY21. And we're not even gonna get the money until April of 2022. But it looked good on their resume, I guess, to continue to put out those bills. Anyway, so that was finally cleared. The air was cleared. But now now you're looking at what other funding source to fund all these EITC bills that totaled 121 million.
So yeah, Senator, we did have a comment here from Rosemary. What happens to the hospital and DOC laws where EITC cannot be used for the future payment of these two buildings?
Right, exactly, and a good point there, because I was the last on the list of being able to ask questions, and after Lester had read, I asked him to read it into the record, the letter from Reverend Tax and himself. I then asked the question about, well, what happens now? We passed in the budget bill, in the FY22 budget bill, to set aside $35 million for the hospital and $5 million for the DOC. And then in November, we passed legislation that actually now appropriated that money to the hospital. And Lester responded, well, it's mute now. It is mute. There is now no funding for the hospital coming from earned income tax credit. So on top of the location for the hospital in Manila being questioned from the military, on top of now not having a funding source to pay any loan back if we were to borrow on building a new hospital. Don't get me wrong, we need a new hospital. We just need to be smart now on where we put this hospital and use our money for, the best way we can to get this hospital built. And there is that facility in Tumuning above the Hilton, that area there, that used to be the old hospital. It has the infrastructure there. We might not be able to put public health there as well as behavioral wellness, but that's just down the street. But we need a new hospital now. We can't have everything at once. We can't afford it at this point. So I think we need to find a viable source as soon as possible for a hospital, one that we can afford. I'd love to have a Taj Mahal, but
wow. I feel like someone put a curse on this new hospital or something. This is one thing after another.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good analysis of that. But I don't think we should give up, though, because we do desperately need a new hospital. That hospital is falling apart. Hospitals, even in the States, after 40 years, are considered, need to be replaced. Right. After 40 years. In Guam, this hospital has been, long exceeded that amount of time. But yeah, that's what's happening in the legislature too as well. Now we have 3 more bills talking about earned income tax credit. I call them the earned income tax credit bills, but now they are in these bills, at least Bill 170, the GUMA bill, has provided other funding sources, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, the ARP funding, and the 2021 General Fund unappropriated revenues. Now, remember that one where the administration told us there was $62 million in excess revenue for FY21. And then they went down the list yesterday with regards to, what that funding is going to be used for. And it's ironic because at the end of that, it came out to be about $5 million after paying off, a lot of other things like the war claims at 10 million, the special fund shortfall of 20 million, the tax refunds, 20 million. And then I asked Lester, well, if that amount is being used for that, plus you haven't even been audited, you still have also the fire where you overspent, fire department overspent $5 million that you have to come up with that. How are you paying the LEAP? And how are you paying, the public safety pay raises? LEAP at 25 million and 16 million for the public safety pay raises. He said that's coming from current budget. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what department is being shortchanged? Because we didn't appropriate in budget for FY22, 25 million. And we sure didn't appropriate the 16 million for public safety raises in the budget bill. So what agency are you shortchanging? And, oh, we're not shortchanging anyone, Lester Carlson. And you know, it was ironic. I hate to bring this up, but if you watch the video, when I asked him the question oops, stop, because it was going too fast. I needed to write all these numbers down on the excess revenue. You know, the GW girl came out in me because he wouldn't answer, and he just kept staring at me. And I said, por favor. And then he just kept glaring at me. And in my mind, it was off and at them, Baba. And he was totally at them bobbing me. I'm like, dude, I'm just asking you a question. I mean, it is your job. You are getting paid the big bucks of, BBMR, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably get a raise too. It is an election year. Let's keep all our directors intact in case, other candidates try and steal you away.
Senator, maybe in Lester's defense, I'm not his main defender, but maybe the Zoom was frozen and it was stuck on an Atambaba face, and he was just, maybe.
As much time as I've spent on Zoom, I had to rethink that. Shaking it, changing the Wi-Fi, signal. Hi, Dave C. Lester. He was in the hot seat yesterday, and I must tell you, he is a master shell. Doing the shell game. He's a master at that. Let's not really give the right information to the people who actually put the budget bill together every year, who's responsible for doing that. Let's hide the money some more. Some more. Hiya, Jay. Well,
you guys got to check the couch up there at Adelup. Maybe that's where the money is.
Oh, yeah. Check underneath the couch. Yeah.
Senator, I wanted to close, but I saw that one of your colleagues is now back. And, of course, we want to wish her well, Vice Speaker Tina Munia Barnes.
Yes, she's back. Yep. I hope that means, being back, that everything is okay with the family then, right. That she's able to come back, that she's in good health, being able to fly back to Guam. And that, her husband is doing really well. Jake is I consider a good friend. He's a good guy. So I hope that her being here means that he's in good hands and he's doing much better. So that's good to hear. Right on. Well, Senator, we wish you luck in the sessions today. What time? Yes, and I hope we can talk about the latest bill. I know it's been, I'm trying to get as much bills through right now. Yeah, what you got? There's another bill that I introduced, and it's Bill 259, prioritizing the elderly housing development. This is a QC to entice individuals to come to Guam to build, an assisted living, independent living nursing facility. It's all wrapped in one. It's kind of a facility with multi living arrangements that actually care for our aging population right now. We're going into the baby boomers, and a lot of times, people who've left their parents on Guam, doing well and fine, and the kids going off to find another life in the mainland. And then when their parents become of age where they need some help in assisted living, many times, children say, okay, come mom and dad, come live with me in Arizona. And, but these parents don't want to leave. This is their home. This is the only home. And they want to live and pass away where they feel comfortable. And on the second hand, the children have built a life, have a family, their children are there and living with their families. So it makes it difficult, but we need a facility to be able to accommodate our aging population, which is fast growing. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's sad, Senator, because I want to say 20, 30 years ago, this conversation, people would freak out. Like, what, you want to put our Monomco where? But the reality is, I mean, and even with the cost of living, something we were talking about earlier, it's just, people can't afford to take care of their family members. I mean, people are having a hard enough time taking care of their so-called immediate family. And then when,
tired and that gets old. A lot of times both of the kids are working or all the kids are working. No one has time, and it ends up, sadly, it ends up being like Monomco hot potato, where can you take care of mom or dad this week, and I'll do it the other. So, yeah, I mean, an assisted living facility, elderly housing, that kind of stuff, all for it. Obviously, there's a huge need for that. It's something we don't have. So thank you for that, Senator.
Yeah, well, the saddest part, I think, Chris, of all of that is that, they're alone at home. They're by themselves, just one caregiver, and that's there. This facility provides not just an independent living, for our elderly, but also an assistant living, and to be around, their gangs. It's going to get to a point where, Chris, when we get old, I wouldn't be able to say, hey, Chris, give me fun that cane, let me borrow from your cane, but but it's just nice to see the interaction. And when I was in Hawaii over Christmas, I visited at least 2 facilities there that have that setup. And it was so nice because you see them playing bingo with each other, playing cards, conversing, hanging out, just being next to each other, and having that what is it, companionship of somebody nearby, especially your own age, where you can definitely understand what you're going through. It means a lot, a whole lot, than being left at home by yourself, and just watching TV. I think that's one of the big issues that we should address, and providing that type of community, with our Manupku. So there's a lot more involved. I know we don't have that much time. I'm looking forward to, I'll send you my press release to give you more insight of what the bill is all about. And it's not only for those individuals who can't afford it, but it's also a middle class. I wanted to ensure that we have an area for the middle class to go. I mean, they've always been left out in the cold. They make too much, they don't get assistance, they make too little to make a living, so they have to have a second or third job in order to stay alive. So I want to address that demographics of individuals too as well.
Well, good luck today, Senator. And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Anytime. Create a great day.
All right, there you go, Senator Telo Taitague. The public announcement here, guys. Good morning. Buenos and off today. The Department of Public Works is announcing their intent to employ Miss Erin Jane B. Regis as an engineer 1 at pay grade L, step 9. $49,364 per annum. This announcement is in compliance with Public Law 28-112, Recruitment Above Step, Section 5, Transparency and Disclosure, Section 10, 6303.1. Should you require additional information, please contact the Human Resources Division Recruitment Branch at 671-475-1128 or 1141. Sincerely, Vincent Areola, Director of DPW.